Okay, this video is because of a student request to just make it clear and talk about how we estimate the square root to one decimal point, okay? Now, from our past lessons, okay, we already know that, one of the things that you have to do is just to, master the square root, the squares, okay? These are all what we call perfect squares because they were made by squaring whole numbers. And that means if we are looking for the square root, for example, square root of 4, okay, square root of 4, it will also give you a whole number, not a decimal, okay? So let me just remove this. So all of the numbers here, okay, are perfect squares, okay? Meaning if we look for the square root of any of them, like this one, square root of 25, it will give you a whole number, okay? Just making that clear. Now, what if the number that we are looking the square root for is not one of the perfect squares, like 50? If you look over here, you will not see 50, okay? So what you need to do is you have to look for where 50 falls in. So if we look over here, we can see that 50 fits perfectly between the two perfect squares, which are 49 and 64. Okay, so we can safely say that 50 is between the two perfect squares. Okay, it's sandwiched between the square root of 49 and the square root of 64. Okay, right over here. And then let's use the greater than less than. Now, a lot of you made a mistake here. Just because you saw these signs in the instruction doesn't mean you have to use the less than and the greater than sign. Okay, this is us trying to see if you know when to use those signs. So what we're saying here is that the square root of 50 is definitely, it's going to be greater than the square root of 49, and it's going to be less than the square root of 64. Okay, so do we know what the square root of 49 is? Yes, it's a perfect square, so the square root of 49 we know is 7. And the square root of 64 is 8. Okay, so we know for sure that the square root of 50 is between 7 and 8. Greater than 7, meaning it's not going to be 7. It's not greater than or equal. It's greater than 7, but less than 8, so it will never reach 8. Okay? And then the instructions asked you, can you estimate, okay, to one decimal point? So if we say 1 decimal point, then the lowest we can go would be 7.1. Okay, it cannot be 7 because 50, square root of 50 is greater than 7. It's not greater than or equal. Okay, so, and it says 1 dp. So it cannot be 7.01 because that's 2 decimal points. So this is the lowest we can go at 1 decimal point. So you have a choice. You can go 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 7.4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7.9. Now, do I go 8.0? No, because it already says here, it's less than 8, so it will not reach 8. Okay? So these are your only choices, 7.1 to 7.9. Now, this is where logical and deductive thinking comes in. If you look here, 49, to get from 49 to 50, you needed to add only 1, plus 1. To get to 50 all the way, okay, to get 50 to 64, that is plus 14. So look at the distance, okay? 49 to 50 is just 1. 50 to 64 is 14. Okay, so if you look over here, where will you say the square root of 50 will be? Will it be closer to the square root of 49, which is 7? Or will it be closer to the square root of 64, which is 8? Where do you think it will go? Will it be around here? Or will it be in the middle? Or will it be around 7.9, 7.8? If you thought or answered that it would be 7.1 or 7.2, one of those, if that's your estimate, then you are correct. Because, okay, 50 is close to 49. So that means the square root of 50, okay, would be closer to 7 than it would be to 8, okay? So that is what we are trying to do, okay? So what exactly is the square root of 50? Let's check. Okay, if you calculate it, the square root of 50 is actually 7.07106, and it goes on. And if we round to 1 dp, the next digit is 7, so it is 7.1. Okay, so if you estimated 7.1, 7.2, that's acceptable, but 7.1 is the most logical because, see, the difference only is like one number. Okay, so let's try another one. Let me just duplicate this page. No, never mind. Okay, let's try square root of 63. Okay, so square root of 63, we know based over here would be in the same spot. Okay, it would be greater than the square root of 49, but less than the square root of 64. So we know it's going to be the square root of 63 is greater than 7, but less than 8. But now look at this. 49 to 63, 49 all the way to 63 is plus 14. Okay? And 63 to 64 is only plus 1. So if you look over here, 7.1 to 7.9, what would your estimate be? So if your estimate would be 7.9, that is a good estimate. Why? Because 63 is close to 64, and the square root of 64 is 8. So that means the square root of 63 will be close to 8. Okay? So let's calculate that. Square root of 63. Square root of 63 is 7.937 and so on. Round to 1 dp, 7.9. Okay? So that is how to estimate the square using upper and lower bounds to 1 decimal point. Okay? Bye-bye.